Good morning, good morning, good morning, beautiful people. Today we're going to do a little catch up. So we're going to be talking about the master key system, the first parts 1 to 4 that we just did for the last 4 days. So this is like a little catch up time. I'm just looking for the title. I was like, what the hell? So I don't have, my goodness. Okay, so the mantra we want to go with is more and better. More and better. More and better. Let's go. Okay. More and better. We are live here on Facebook as well. Beautiful. So, welcome back this morning, folks, to the Master Key System. We are going to be doing a little review of the last 4 days, the last 4 parts, so a little catch up, I guess, if you missed anything. And we're just gonna bring it all together so we could make sense of this. All right. So, we love to start with an attitude of gratitude. What are you grateful for today? That's always our first focus, and it's important, and there's a reason for that. Because where your focus goes, your energy flows, and what you focus on, you feel now. So, focus on gratitude, and you feel grateful, you feel powerful, you feel abundant when you focus on what you already have. And then we have this mantra now of more and better. So we focus first on what we have, and then we focus on how we can get more and better. So to have more and better, we need to do more and better. To do more and better, we need to be more and better. How do you be more and better? Well, you've come to the right place. So, introducing the Master Key System. The system to master oneself, which is probably the most important thing you can do. So, I take this privilege to be able to produce this work to you, and I hope you find some value in it too. So, part 1. I think I will just go through the Q&A from each part, and we could just discuss that. I think that'll make the most sense. And also bring them together, all the exercises as well. So for the last 4 days, we were doing different exercises, essentially different meditations, building up. So for the last 4 sessions, you should have first just sat still. That was the first thing, to just sit completely still. Then the second step, going further, once we sat still, we learn to inhibit our thoughts, all thoughts. And then, still going further, we learn to physically let go and then relax. And lastly, yesterday, the exercise was to mentally let go. So now we're physically letting go, mentally letting go, we're still, and with the thoughts don't affect us now. So all of that together is a good foundation to start your meditation. And all these meditations are just journeys within ourselves. We're going deeper within ourselves to figure our own self out. Because most of us don't have a clue who we are. And it is important to know yourself. Right? Because that is, everything else will follow from that. If you don't know yourself, you don't know what you want, you cannot make good decisions for yourself, So, this is what this is all about. Okay, so we got the exercises down. Let's go to the Q&As from each part, and let's see if we can make sense of these. So from part 1, what is the world without in its relation to the world within? Well, we spoke about how the world without is a reflection of the world within. So this external world is just a reflection of the internal world. And good morning, Tennyson. Big up thyself. So today, for the latecomers, today we're just going to be doing a review of the last 4 parts. So you can do it as like a little catch-up day, I suppose, if you missed something. But so all the exercises we have done so far have been meditations. All right, and so far for the last 4 parts, we have set a foundation, a solid foundation to build upon. So up to now, if you have been practicing all the exercises, you should be much better at sitting still in a very relaxed state where you have physically and mentally let go and you have inhibited your thoughts. So from this point, we could move forward and go on a deeper journey within ourselves. So I'm just going through all the Q&As from the last 4 parts, and so we'll just kind of bring it together. So again, that the external world is a reflection of the internal world. And so upon what does all possession depend? Because we want to possess things, we want to have things. What does that depend upon? And all possession is based on consciousness. And let me see if I can do this here. Where is my microphone? Can't find my other markers right now. But that's alright. Let me bring out the whiteboard, the old trusty whiteboard with the matrix of life on it. The key. I don't know if you're able to see that. It looks like you'll be able to see it. Wow. If you want, you can take a screenshot of that and you'll have it. Wow. So, that's the matrix of life there, I'm going to call it. We be, we do, we have. Right? To have, we want to have more. That's essentially what possession is about, to have. And to have more. And as I said earlier, the mantra today is more and better. More and better. So to have more and better, we must do more and better. And to do more and better, we must be more and better. How do you be more and better? Well, this is exactly what the Master Key system is about. So, if you recall from the board, to be takes time. Takes time to be, to become. And we are able to choose our identity, or we can search to find our true identity, rather. That'd be a better process. And once we see who we really are and become it, it takes time to become it, but once you know, you start to become it. That's the process already of being better. And when you do that, you will essentially do better because now it is a part of who you are. So, for example, if you were to search yourself and identify as a millionaire, let's say, you look inside you and it's like, yes, I think I'm a millionaire. That's what I want to do and I want to be. So be a millionaire then. It takes time, but you can start right now. And once you convince yourself of the truth, then you will start to act differently. You'll start to do better. Right? That goes to activity. So we start with the identity. Once we have that settled, we go into activity. Okay. What does a millionaire do? Maybe it might be a question you'll ask yourself, because that's who you are now. So as a millionaire, what would I do? And then you start, just that question alone will lead you to much different thoughts than other disempowering questions. If you wake up and the first thing in your mind is like, how do I do better today? Versus you waking up and the first thing on your mind is, where's that coffee, man? Or asking, why I had to wake up now? Why I can't just sleep all day? Different questions going to lead to different answers. And this is the key. We want to ask more quality questions of ourselves so we get more quality answers. You ask a disempowering question, you're going to get a disempowering answer. You ask an empowering question, you get an empowering answer. It's how our brain works. We ask the questions and it gives us the answers. Always. Always. And that's how thought works. That's what is at the back of thinking. It's just asking questions, essentially. So, when we do better, we take the activity that we're supposed to do and we do it. That would lead us to gain property. So we do more and we'll have more. Right? But it starts with, the possession starts with the consciousness. Right? So if you want to possess health, you want to possess wealth, you want to possess joy and happiness, you need to be conscious of these things first. So become health conscious. And you will become more healthy. You will have health. Because you start thinking about, how can I have better health? You start doing things to make your health better, to optimize your health and increase it. And so you will have that. But again, it starts with consciousness. So how is the individual related to the objective world? The individual is related to the objective world by the objective mind. And the brain is the organ of this mind. Right? And how is he related to the universal mind? Well, he is related to the universal mind by the subconscious mind. And the solar plexus is the organ of this mind. So we have like these two minds. There's really just one mind, right? We break it into these two categories to better understand it. Right? And this is the beauty of one, or whole. You can always break a whole into parts, and the parts sum together to give you the whole. But the parts, even though they're the same kind, because you could always bring them back together to get the whole, each part is different and may serve a different function. So if we are able to see ourselves as a whole and also be able to differentiate the different parts of ourselves so that we know what each part's function is, and we could optimize each function, that is how we get better, exponentially better. Right? And doing it like that gives you a simple process to go. And you can do it step by step. You can start simple, The simplest way to break it down is in two parts, which is we're doing right now. So there's just one mind. We break it into two parts. We see the functions of each part so that we can optimize each part for its function. And we'll have a better life. Right? So, what is the universal mind? You hear me speaking about it so much, you might be like, what the hell is he talking about? I've never heard of that before. Well, the universal mind is the life principle of every atom, of every molecule which is in existence. So, the universal mind is just what gives life. It is the principle of life, essentially. And we know that we are part of it because we have life. So this is something we can't deny. We know that life exists. So the principle of life existence, that is the universal mind. We just call it that. Again, all of these terms and definitions are just that, right? It's just a way for us to understand these concepts and ideas, right? It's a way that essentially it is a mechanism to transfer these thoughts and ideas into your brain cells. because you need some kind of concept to understand it from your perspective, right? So how can the individual act on the universal? We just discussed that the individual is related to the objective world and they are related to the universal mind. So how does the individual act on the universal? Well, the ability of the individual to think is the key. So our ability to think is our ability to act upon the universal and bring it into manifestation. But if you really understand what that means, it is beautiful. Because we can't think, we could operate on a universal mind. I could spend the rest of the session just talking about this alone, but let's not do that. I will suffice to say that I'll just give one example then. Because people, I am such an abstract person, because that's what I understand. Mathematics is the abstract part, is when we generalize everything so you can see how everything works as a whole. But a lot of people don't understand that, so I need to bring more concrete examples so that it could bring better understanding for you all. And that's what I'm going to try to do and strive to do. So I'll just give you one example here, a very concrete one. I'm saying that thinking is the ability to think, is the ability to act upon this universal and to bring it into manifestation. So I will give you a personal example. I'm working with this organization currently. It's like a multi-billion-dollar organization. I will leave it unnamed right now, but because it doesn't really matter. But essentially, I work at this place, and I work here because this organization, as I said, is a multi-billion-dollar organization with hundreds of thousands of employees, and I would like to have something like that. I want to create something like that in the future. So I am working here so I could get a proper model of how they are able to make this function, to take stuff from the environment, essentially, take it through a process and package it in a certain way for a particular individual to come and buy that. And I'm thinking, you know what? As of right now, I am very replaceable. If I were to quit or to be fired, they could just go through a simple process and hire somebody else. Maybe somebody better. So my value there is very low. And I was thinking, you know what? I believe that I am more valuable. So how do I increase my worth? And I thought about it. And just remember what thinking is. Thinking is the ability to act upon the universal. So I thought about it. And I was like, okay, how can I bring more value? And when I thought about it, I realized, okay, this is a business. A business needs customers. They want more customers. So I went and spoke to the higher ups, the supervisors and managers. And they're like, yes, we want more customers. So I'm like, okay. I explained the same process to them. I was like, I'm very replaceable now and I want to change that. I want to be irreplaceable. So I need to get on that side where I am, instead of costing the company, I am making the company more. So how do I do that? Well, if I help you all bring in more customers, that will do just that. And I believe that I can do that. So I proposed it to my higher ups, and they have referred me to the higher up. So that's what I shall do now, right? So now I have an opportunity to speak with the owners about how I could bring in more customers for them. And so it started with me just thinking about it. Thinking, how could I do more? How can I be more? How can I do better and be better? So that I could have more and better. And that is what I want to show you all. It doesn't have to be some big thing. You could start right now, right where you are. in whatever circumstances and conditions you find yourself in, you can do what you want to do, right? And again, to be, it takes time. So you also have to be patient with yourself, right? But understand that you have the ability to do better now. You could be better now. Okay, so I thought about it. I proposed a possible solution, and now I have an opportunity to earn more. Right from where I am. I didn't have to go anywhere different. All I had to do was think, right? So the ability to think is the ability to act upon the universe. So that's all I wanted to stress upon. I could give so many examples, but you could just look at your own life and find examples for yourself. So what is the result of this action and interaction? Well, the result of this action and interaction is cause and effect. Every thought is a cause, and every condition an effect. Right? So I thought, and that produced a cause, which led to effect, which was me, making an offer. Like, if you want more, if you just want to make it simple, you want more, you need to ask for more. It's like, it just seems so, you might blow it up in our minds in all kinds of ways, and it might seem so complicated, but it's very simple in the end. Ask for more. Make more offers. Make better offers. That's how. Every condition is an effect. So the conditions of our lives currently are just effects, right? That are the result of past thinking. So the thought is always the cause, and that's what we need to go back to. My managers, they commended me on thinking. It's like, wow, you think so much. Yeah, I wonder, how come nobody else thinks? Wow, thinking is such a difficult thing, it seems. But we're gonna reason it out here, and we're gonna see that it is not so difficult that you cannot do it. You are doing it. You do it all the time. But it is, what are we thinking about? Right? Which leads to the next question. How are harmonious and desirable conditions secured? Because this is what we want. My battery is trying to die on me. We want harmony. Harmonious and desirable conditions are obtained by right thinking. And the cause of all discord and inharmony and lack and limitation is the result of wrong thinking. So if you find yourself at a point now where your conditions of life are inharmonious or in discord, in confusion, and you just see lack and limitation everywhere, that's all right. That is just the result of past wrong thinking. You could feel bad about it, but when you're done feeling bad, you can feel good now, because you recognize it was past wrong thinking, and you can think right now. You can think right now. So you can think right now. It's like a double entendre there. You can think right now. Okay, maybe that's the next mantra. Think right now. More and better. Oh my goodness. I love that. Think right now. Beautiful 3 words that could do so much power in your life. And as I say, power, what is the source of all powers? The source of all power is this internal world, this world within, the universal fountain of supply, the infinite energy of which each individual is an outlet. It's like you're a drop of water in the ocean. This drop of water has access to the whole ocean. When this drop of water moves, the whole ocean moves. We don't really think about it like that, but this is true. If you throw a rock into a pond or a lake, you will see it for yourself. where the rock drops in the water, a wave comes out. And that wave ripples through the entire water. Right? The entire body of water. So, we are just outlets from this infinite energy. But when we move, we send vibrations, waves throughout the entire substance. So, our ability to think is our ability to act upon the universal. Right? As I said previously, we are living in this consciousness field, this field of consciousness. And thoughts are vibrations in this field. So every time you think a thought, you're sending a vibration that ripples throughout the whole consciousness field. But how far it ripples out depends on how strong the thought was, right? The frequency of the thought, of the vibration of the thought. Right? So it's all linked. So that's part one. Moving on to part two. What are the two modes of mental activity? As we say, we're just breaking it down to two right now to make it simple. And we could break it down even further, right? We could break those two into three and three into four. But I'll go no more. Right? I don't want to complicate it. If you all want to go deeper and deeper, get my course and we can go deeper if you want. Right? So, the two modes of mental activity is conscious and subconscious. And upon what do ease and perfection depend? Because I think we want ease. We would love to have ease in our life. But most people don't think that you can be successful with ease. I find that to be a limiting belief we all have. But I want to challenge that. Because I believe that you can succeed with ease. And it's the best way too. I don't want to succeed with disease. If you understand what I'm saying. You know? But what do these depend upon? Ease and perfection, they depend entirely upon the degree in which we cease to depend upon the conscious mind. It's a little counterintuitive. But when you are able to transfer the thoughts from the conscious to the subconscious, then you no longer need to depend upon it consciously. It becomes subconscious, it becomes automatic, and we need not worry about it anymore. It just frees up our conscious to go in search of other things, to pay attention to the next thing, and work on that to make that automatic, to work on the next thing. So essentially, we're starting to see what is the functions of each mode of mental activity. And once we know what is the purpose of each, then we could use them optimally, right? We could optimize them and make it better for ourselves. Instead of using them against each other, because that's what I find a lot. That's why we're in such discord and confusion, and in lack. Because the two parts, instead of working in harmony, they are opposed. They're fighting each other. We have this internal fight going on. And my goal, my dream, my aspiration, my desire is just to bring wholeness to all. For each individual to recognize that they are whole and a part of a bigger whole as well. If you think of the number one, which we call whole, one unity is, you can look at it in two ways. As everything, the whole, one thing together. You could have a lot of different parts, but it's all one together. And you can also look at it as a unit in a bigger system. So the smallest part of a bigger system. So there is always these two views, these two perspectives you can see yourself with. And they're both valuable. We just need to know. We need to differentiate. Right? To differentiate and to integrate. You see how we use math every day? It's so beautiful. And people are so afraid of differentiation and integration. But I could show you the practical benefits of it now. People are like, I never used this in my life. Why learn this for? Well, I can show you how you can use it right now. You are a whole, and the whole process is to differentiate yourself into different parts, recognize the functions of each part, and then integrate those parts back into the whole. And this whole now is going to be greater than the sum of the parts. It's a mystery, a wonderful mystery. But it could happen, and it could happen now. Think right now. Oh, that's making me smile every time I say it. Think right now. So much meaning to that. What is the value of the subconscious? I said they both have value. So what is the value of the subconscious? Well, it is enormous. It guides us. It warns us. It controls all the vital processes. And it is the seat of memory. So all the processes that's going on in your body right now to keep you alive, you don't need to think about it. It's subconscious, right? Your heart has been beaten before you were born. You don't need to think about it. I always bring that example up, Feel your heart. I just want to make sure my heart's still beating. What if you had to remember to beat your heart? Most of us would be dead in a day. We just forget to beat it for a few minutes and heart attack. Right? So be so grateful for your heart. What about your lungs? Breathe in that good prana, baby. Oh, fresh air. Just take a deep breath. Oh, your lungs functioning properly. That is a gift. You don't have to think about it. We take that for granted. But all this stuff we're taking for granted, if we be grateful for, we'll find a new perspective on life. We'll be able to appreciate life so much more if we just take this simple step that we could do right now. Because right now you have stuff that you're already taking for granted in your life. So take a moment to appreciate those things and be grateful for them. And see how that could change your perspective marvelously. So what are some of the functions of the conscious mind? I find like a lot of people have trouble with this, right? They have no idea what is the purpose of the conscious mind. Even scientists, like science as a whole, still have no idea what is the point of consciousness, right? We have a lot of theories, but we have no substantial, we're not in agreement, essentially, on what it is the purpose of consciousness is. But the conscious mind, it has the faculty of discrimination. It has the power of reasoning. And it is the seat of will. And it so may impress the subconscious. So impressing the subconscious, that is one of the greatest functions of the conscious mind. Any process that goes on subconsciously, automatically, the conscious mind has superior access. So, like your breath, I'll give you a good example. You breathe in, and that's automatic all the time, constantly, to keep you alive. You don't need to think about it. But you can think about it. And you can inhibit your breath if you wish. There's a lot of things you can do with your breath. So just breathe. When you take a deep breath, for example, what are you doing? You are consciously taking control of a subconscious process. You can do that for any subconscious process. And this is so beautiful because that means we are able to change our programming. So I find that very freeing. Just to think about that is very freeing for me. Because the conscious, if we focus on what it's supposed to do and we do that, we will not have stress. The stress comes, I have found that all stress in life comes from when we are trying to do something consciously that it was never meant to do consciously, or that we don't know what to do with our conscious. So I find a lot of the times the problem is in the conscious, not the subconscious. We may think that the subconscious is where all the problems is, because that's where all the programs are, controlling you. But those programs, where did they come from? They were consciously programmed. Whether it was by you or another, it was consciously programmed. And so you could consciously reprogram it at any point. What is the method necessary? What method is necessary to impress the subconscious? Right? So that's the main function of the conscious, to impress the subconscious. Well, it's simple. You just mentally state what you want. I don't know how deep I could go into this right now. But folks, I will say again, in this series, as we go live every day, this is just little tidbits. This is just the surface. And if you want to go deeper, you can join me in my course on how to be whole, how to master your emotions. You go a little deeper. If you're interested in that, just hit me up later. But mentally state what is wanted. Now, in our brain, in the front part of your brain, the frontal lobe, prefrontal cortex, whatever you want to call it, this is where this is the area of the seat of judgment and the will, reason, what are those decision making. That's what happens there. And you have two sides of your brain, right? Two hemispheres. You have the left and the right. And one side deals with I will, and the other side deals with I won't. Now, the unison of them is I want. Right? So that's the center. What do you want? Right? When you want something, you will do things and you won't do things. Say, I want a strong, healthy body. Well, I will eat strong, healthy foods. And I will exercise. And I will. And I will. And you have this list of wills. Because you want this. But you also have this list of won'ts. I won't stay in bed all day and sleep and not move. I won't eat that junk food every hour. I won't. Right? But if you're just focusing on one side, just trying to say, I will do this or I won't do this, you won't have the power. These two parts will be in conflict. You want to bring them together, and how you do that is by thinking about I want. What do you want? And that will influence the I will and the I won't. But you can't even know what you want if you don't know who you are. Right? I mean, in the deepest sense, right? And superficially, you can know what you want right now. But I'm talking about a deeper sense. What do you want from life? Understand, life will pay you whatever you want. But you get to set the wages. What do you think you're worth? Really question that. So, mentally state what is wanted. And what will be the result? Well, if the desire is in harmony with the forward movement of the great whole, forces will be set in motion which will bring about the result. Now, I must stop here for a quick moment to expound upon this because this is very important. We want different things. When we figured what we want, the next step is to make sure that is in harmony with the movement forward for all. So we want to give more. We want more for all and less to none. Right? As I said, you are a part of this greater whole. So, just like you have trillions of cells, each cell is a part of this greater whole. That individual cell, if it needs something, if it wants something or needs something, it makes a request. And if that request is in harmony with the health of the overall substance, that cell will receive exactly what it needs and wants. And so we are on a higher level as well. So whatever it is you want, just make sure it is in harmony with the greater whole. As I said, which is simply to give more to all and less to none. Right? Because that is the universe is abundant. That's how nature works. Right? So we must always be increasing. That's why we have this desire to want more in the first place, to have more, to do more, to be more and better. So just harmonize with that. And it is not as difficult as it may first seem. Right? Because if you are doing these exercises that accompany all of these parts, then when you sit still, it's called going into the silence. We'll get there just now. But going into the silence, if you go there every day, seek the silence. Because there you will be illuminated. Right? Everything that you need is already within you. So once you are able to sit still and relax and let go, you have no responsibilities, nothing to do, you're just there. You're just being, just existing for this moment. You're doing nothing. Right? People say nothing is impossible. Well, do nothing every day. If you could start off your day with the impossible, then you could do anything after that. So do nothing. Just go into the silence and let it speak to you. Let this silence speak to you. That might sound so weird. It sounds weird when I say it. That is what you have to do. That's the truth. So, once we are in harmony with this greater whole, forces will be set in motion to bring what it is we desire to us. It brings it to us. Like, I don't know if you could understand how beautiful that is. Like when the cell needs something, the thing it needs is brought to it. It needs oxygen, for example. The oxygen is brought to the cell. Just think about that. What is the result of the operation of this law? Our environment reflects conditions corresponding to the predominant mental attitude which we entertain. So whatever is your main attitude, essentially, that is your vibration. Your attitude essentially is the predominant vibration or frequency that you're vibrating with at this point. And that is going to attract the conditions of your life, the results. So, this, we call this the law of attraction, right? But, I don't know if much of us, we know, the law of attraction, but do we know actually how it works, I don't think much of us do. We just kind of know the name, right? But this is how the law is stated, right? Thought is a creative energy and will automatically correlate with its object and bring it into manifestation. So, when you think about something, your thought always has an object of the thought. Because you're thinking about something. And the thought corresponds with the object that you're thinking about. And it causes forces to bring that object into manifestation. Whether that be good or bad, creative or destructive. Right? The point is, that's how it works. So, going on to the third part. What system of nerves is the organ of the conscious mind? We already spoke about how the center of the conscious mind is the brain. Alright, so the cerebrospinal system really is this set of nerves the central nervous system essentially. That is the organ of the conscious mind. Whereas you have the sympathetic system, sympathetic nervous system, that is the system of the subconscious mind. Right? So that's the automatic part, right? Yeah, we call it autonomic nervous system, I believe is the name of it. Right? So that is the subconscious part. Now, what is the central point of distribution for energy which the body is constantly generating? That is the solar plexus. So the solar plexus, somewhere out there in the back, this is where all your energy from, where life and vitality springs from. Right? So take care of your solar plexus and be grateful for it. How may this distribution be interrupted? Well, by resistant, critical, discordant thoughts, and especially by fear. Right? Physiologically, resistant, fearful, discordant thoughts constrict your solar plexus, reducing the amount of energy it is able to generate. Alright? And so you have a corresponding effect on your body. You're reducing the amount of energy or power that your body has access to produce life, to maintain life in health. This is how we get sick. Now, what is the result of such interruption? Every sickness, every illness with which the human race is afflicted, it comes from our discordant thoughts. That is the cause, the true cause. Now, you may go to a doctor and they may tell you, maybe you got some disease, and they tell you get this disease because of this. But if you trace it back, why did get this that caused that disease? You trace this back as far as you can, and you will find that there was some thought that started that process. And this is the stage we want to reach at, where we can recognize how we ended up in the situation we did. So how may this energy be controlled and directed? That's probably the most important thing you're probably wondering. And you could do it by conscious thought. By conscious thought. You could think right now. How may fear be completely eliminated? Because we must eliminate fear in order to live a truly abundant and healthy life. So, by an understanding and recognition of the true source of all power, we could eliminate all fear. Right? Fear is very linked to lack and limitation. It starts the survival process, right? The survival is the lowest form of life. We are higher than that, right? We have reached a stage where we can automate survival, so we need not think about it. So we need to think about higher and better things, higher forms of life and expression. So we need not fear. And there's a couple of really common fears. I'll go through those in probably another session or as we continue along this series. Can't do it right now. What determines the experiences with which we meet in life? Well, we already discussed this. Our predominant mental attitude determines the experiences with which we meet in life. And since we can change our attitude, we can change the experiences we have. And I think that's what we want, right? We want more and better experiences. How do we do that? Get a better mental attitude. How may we awake the solar plexus? You need to mentally concentrate upon the condition which we desire to see manifested in our lives. Right? Mentally state what you want and visualize that. Make it real. That thought process is bringing it into reality. And what is the creative principle of the universe? Well, we discussed that as well. That is the universal mind. The universal mind is the creative life principle. Right? So it is what creates life. What is thought? I keep saying we could think right now. And thinking is the ability to act upon this universal. But what is thought? Essentially, thought is spiritual energy. I can't give you a better definition. It is spiritual energy. It is energy. We know this much. It is spiritual energy. This is the only way, it is the only tool or the main tool, if any other, that the spirit uses to communicate. Right? And how is it carried? It is carried by the law of vibration. Just as light or heat or sound, all those phenomena, it is the same process. Right? It's carried by vibration. And how is it given vitality? By the law of love. Right? When you mix your thoughts with feelings, you emotionalize your thoughts, they become even more powerful. They give them vitality. And love is the greatest. So you mix your thoughts with love, and they become more powerful. How does it take form? Maybe this is really what we want to know. Because, just thinking about this thing, I don't know about for this, I don't know about all this woo-woo stuff and manifestation. What does that mean? I want to see it here right now. Well, for it to take form, it takes form by the law of growth. What I'm essentially saying is, okay, you have a seed. This seed actually has a tree in it. You probably want the tree with the fruit. You want the fruit probably, but you have a seed. Now, can you see the fruit in the seed? Are you able to focus upon the fruit while looking at the seed and know that the fruit is the truth? And once you put the seed in the right environment and water it, by the law of growth, that seed will start to take form and become this tree and bear fruit with more seed. This is the law of growth. And we must grow. Right? That's how it takes form. It takes time to grow. It takes time to be. But we must know the truth. Right? You could look at the seed and see the fruit. So you could look at yourself right now. That is not the truth. You have to look further. You have to look deeper to find your truth, who you really are. For me, example, I'm a millionaire. That's the truth. And that's not even the whole truth. That's just part of it. I won't even go further now because some people will start to, they might go crazy if I really start to express who I am. But all I want to express is really that we don't even have, most of us, we don't know who we are. And we need to look deeper to find that truth. What is the secret of this, of its creative power, right? Of the creative power of thought? Well, it is a spiritual activity. And we know spirits are eternal, all powerful. So, how can we develop this kind of faith and courage and enthusiasm which will result in accomplishment? How do we develop this? Well, it's just by a recognition of your spiritual nature. You are a spirit. You are a spirit. This body is not you. You are a spirit possessing this body, giving it life, animating it, controlling it, programming it. You are the spirit, not the body. Most of us think we are our body. And maybe we have a spirit. No, you are a spirit that has a body. So we need to, once we recognize this truth, this is when we can start to go deeper. What is the secret of power? Well, service. Might be a little counterintuitive. Service is the secret of power. You have to serve. If you want something, the quickest way to get it is to give it. Counterintuitive. So much things in life counterintuitive. But that is because, actually I can't even go into why that is. That will take a whole session. So, why is this so? Why is the secret of power service? Because we get what we give. That's why. And what is the silence? Well, that's what I was talking about earlier. The place we need to visit every day is a physical stillness. Right? So that's what the first exercise was about. Us seeking the silence. When you go into the silence, you go into a room where you're not going to be disturbed. Right? And you find a comfortable place and position that you can maintain. Right? Comfortable but not lounging on. We want good proper posture. So we feel good. Take a deep breaths and you relax. Physically let go. You could always consciously relax a little more. You could only go so far consciously, but you can always just relax. Right? You could mentally relax and let go. Let all the muscles relieve itself of its tension, go into this normal position and condition. And you just sit still, you're doing nothing. And you're not focusing on your thoughts. If you want to focus on your breath. Inhibit all thoughts. You will get distracted, your mind will wander, it will happen. The goal is to just recognize when this happens. Just to recognize when this happens. And bring yourself back to the focus. And this is what we want to practice every day. Every day. Every day. And we'll get better. We'll get deeper. We'll get more understanding. Right? What is the value of this? Of going into the silence? Well, it is the first step to self-control and self-mastery. And this program is about self-mastery. So this is the first step. We must seek the silence every day. You hear those beautiful birds chirping? When you sit with yourself, by yourself, and you're just there, so much things come to you. Sometimes it could be overwhelming, especially without practice. It could be overwhelming. But this is why we say to relax first. So, because when you relax, your muscles are totally relaxed. You cannot feel certain states like anxious, anxiety or fear or frustration or anger. Those states, you need tension in your muscles to feel those states. So when you're totally relaxed, you can't feel those states. You could feel grateful. You can focus on that, what you're grateful for. But if you practice this every day and you go deeper, right, you will start to discover your true self, your true nature, that is beyond anything that your past experience may lead you to believe is possible. So rest with that presence, that awesomeness that is you. So folks, I just wanted to do a little, review of the last 4 parts and hopefully bring it together in a harmonious way. That was my goal. I hope I accomplished that. And I hope you found some value. If you have found value in these sessions so far, just go ahead and share it with a friend. If you found value, maybe they may find some value in it as well. Because this is what I did for you, I was doing this by myself. And I found so much value from it, tremendous value. So now I'm sharing it with you. And you could do it for someone else too. They might be grateful for it because they might need it and just don't know. Right? So much things is like that. Like we already have all these solutions and resources that we need to solve our problems. Well, the biggest problem is awareness. We're just not aware of what we have access to and what we can do. And so the silence, seeking the silence, increases your awareness. That is the main thing it does. That's what meditation is about. Awareness is the most powerful thing. Right? Because if you're aware of the solution to your problem, the problem no longer exists. So awareness really is the solution, is the key. So thank you for taking this time with me. Tomorrow we'll be continuing along with these sessions. We'll be doing part 5. So yes, thank you again for your listening here and joining me in this journey, this beautiful discovery, this journey to discover you. So big up your whole self, and I mean your whole self, not half yourself. Big up your whole self. I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday, and I discovered this great idea. It's that we have a creative side and we have a destructive side. And most of us only know of one side and not able to appreciate the both sides. They are both important and valuable, and if we learn how to bring them together in harmony, you can do so much more right now. You could be better? No. You could do better? No. You can have better? No. How? By thinking right now. So I'll see you back tomorrow again, folks. Remember, we're rising high and we're going fast, because this was built to last a little longer than the other sessions, but it was a review of the last 4 sessions, so you could expect it to be just a little longer. So, hey, look, the man done join at the end. But big up yourself, same way. You can watch the replay. Until we meet again, my beautiful people.